So I was standing in the checkout queue at my local supermarket last week, and there it was, right next to the chewing gum and the phone chargers, a collagen shot in a little glass bottle promising me younger skin, stronger joints, and something called cellular renewal, all for £3.50. And I stood there thinking, this used to be a thing you found in specialist health shops with dim lighting and staff who used words like bioavailability. Now it is sitting next to the Haribo, and that moment told me everything I needed to know about where we are with collagen right now, because when something moves from the health food fringe to the supermarket checkout queue, you know two things with absolute certainty. The marketing machine is running at full power, and the question of whether any of it actually works is getting buried somewhere underneath all of that noise. So today I want to do what I always try to do on this channel, which is go directly to the research, strip away the packaging and the promises, and ask one honest question. Does collagen actually slow aging? Not does it sound like it should? Not does it feel like it is doing something? Does the science, when you look at it carefully and honestly, actually support the claim that is being made on that little bottle in the checkout queue? If you are new here, welcome. I am a pharmacist with a background in nutritional biochemistry, and I have spent the better part of 15 years trying to figure out what genuinely keeps people healthy and what is simply well-marketed hope in a tub. If you find something useful in today's video, please do hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It costs you nothing, and it helps this content reach people who are out there right now genuinely trying to make good decisions about their health. Right. Let us start at the beginning, because the beginning matters enormously here. What collagen actually is, and what happens when you eat it. Collagen is the most abundant protein in your entire body. Think of it as the structural scaffolding that holds everything together. Your skin, your tendons, your cartilage, your bones, your blood vessels, all of it is held in shape by collagen. It is literally what keeps you from falling apart, which is not an exaggeration. That is just anatomy. Now, as you age, your body produces less of it. Not dramatically, not all at once, but gradually and consistently from around your mid-20s onward. Your skin loses some of its firmness. Your joints lose a little of their cushioning. Your tendons become marginally less elastic. And this is why the pitch for collagen supplements sounds so immediately logical. You are losing collagen, so you take collagen and you top yourself back up. Simple, elegant, completely intuitive. Here is the problem, and it is a significant one that the label on that checkout bottle will absolutely not mention. When you swallow collagen, your digestive system does not recognize it as a special delivery for your face or your knees. Your gut sees protein. That is all it sees. And what your digestive system does with protein is break it down completely into its individual components, which we call amino acids, the raw building materials that proteins are made from. Think of it like this. Imagine collagen is a piece of flat pack furniture that arrives at your door already fully assembled. The moment it enters your digestive system, your body takes it apart completely. Every screw, every panel, every wooden dowel, back into a pile of individual components. And then it uses those components to build whatever it decides currently needs building most urgently. You do not get to leave a note on the box saying, please send the wooden panels specifically to my left knee. Your body makes that decision entirely on its own, based on its own priorities, and your face is rarely at the top of that list. Now you might think, well, surely those building materials are still doing something useful wherever they end up. And yes, they are. But here is the catch that changes everything. Those exact same building materials, those amino acids, are already present in any protein you eat. Your chicken, your eggs, your lentils, your Greek yogurt, all of it breaks down into the same amino acid pool. Collagen is not delivering anything unique or targeted. It is simply adding to a pool that, for most people eating a reasonably balanced diet, is already adequately filled. There is one nuance worth acknowledging here, and I want to be fair about it, because this channel is not about dismissing things reflexively. Collagen is particularly rich in certain amino acids, glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline, that appear in somewhat lower quantities in the muscle meats that dominate most modern diets. Traditional diets that included bone broth, slow-cooked joints, and connective tissue naturally contained more of these. So there is a legitimate argument that some people, particularly those eating mostly lean processed protein sources, might genuinely have lower intake of these specific amino acids than their grandparents did. That is a real and honest point. We will come back to whether it translates into meaningful benefit. But I wanted to name it before we got into the evidence because intellectual honesty requires acknowledging the strongest version of the argument before you evaluate it. The skin claim. Does collagen actually reduce wrinkles and slow skin aging? This is the claim that drives the majority of collagen sales. This is what that checkout bottle is really selling you. Younger looking skin, fewer wrinkles. The visible reversal of something that everyone over 35 is acutely aware is happening to their face. And on the surface, there is research that appears to support it. A substantial review of 23 randomized controlled trials involving around 1,500 participants found that collagen supplementation improved skin hydration, elasticity, and the appearance of wrinkles. And randomized controlled trials are genuinely the gold standard of medical evidence. They test the real thing against a dummy pill and measure the difference. So this looks promising. It looks like the science is there. But then you look at who paid for the studies. When researchers separated the trials by funding source, a pattern emerged that anyone familiar with supplement research will recognize immediately. The studies funded by collagen manufacturers and beauty companies showed significant benefits. The independent studies, the ones conducted by researchers with no financial stake in the outcome, showed no meaningful effect. And when the analysis was restricted to only the highest quality trials with the most rigorous methodology, the benefit disappeared entirely. The researchers themselves were blunt in their conclusion. There is currently no solid clinical evidence that collagen supplementation prevents or reverses skin aging. Now, I want to pause here because this is the point in a video like this where I need to say something that I genuinely believe. Industry funding does not automatically make a study wrong. Some industry-funded research is perfectly rigorous and honestly reported, but when the only studies showing a benefit are the ones where someone profits from that finding and the independent studies consistently show nothing, you are not looking at evidence of effectiveness. You are looking at a pattern, and that pattern should make you very cautious about reaching for your wallet. Compare this with what we actually know about skin aging from decades of independent research. Approximately 80% of the visible aging on your face, the lines, the texture changes, the uneven tone is not caused by the natural reduction in collagen production that comes with age. It is caused by ultraviolet radiation from the sun. UV light activates enzymes in your skin that break down the collagen you already have. Actively destroy it faster than your body can replace it. You can see this with your own eyes if you look up photographs of people who have had significant asymmetric sun exposure over decades. Long-distance drivers, farmers who worked one side to the sun, people who spent years by a window. The sun-exposed side of the face or arm can look 15 to 20 years older than the protected side on the same person. Same genetics, same diet, same collagen production rate. Completely different aging outcomes based purely on UV exposure. A good broad-spectrum SPF 50 applied to your face every morning costs you a few pounds a month and addresses the primary cause of visible skin aging directly. A collagen supplement costs you £40 to £50 a month and addresses a mechanism that the best independent evidence suggests has no meaningful effect on the outcome you are hoping for. One of those is a good use of £40. The other is a lovely little bottle in a checkout queue. The joint claim. Does collagen rebuild cartilage and reduce pain? If the skin evidence is weak, the joint evidence is slightly less weak, and I want to be precise about that distinction because it matters. When you pull together the trials looking at collagen supplementation in people with knee osteoarthritis specifically, there is a modest, measurable improvement in pain and stiffness scores in some studies. Not dramatic, not consistent, not transformative, but present in a way that the skin evidence simply is not. However, the same structural problem haunts this evidence base as it does the skin research. The trials are small. The methodology in many of them is rated as low quality by independent reviewers, and the overwhelming majority of them were funded by companies that manufacture and sell collagen products. When you restrict the analysis to industry-independent research, the signal weakens considerably. What genuinely works for joint pain, and I mean works with the kind of evidence base that independent researchers return to again and again across thousands of participants, is movement, specifically resistance exercise that strengthens the muscles surrounding the affected joint. I know that sounds counterintuitive. When a joint hurts, every instinct you have tells you to rest it. Moving something that hurts seems like it should make the problem worse. But for the vast majority of chronic joint pain and osteoarthritis in particular, that instinct is wrong in a way that genuinely matters for your long-term health. A large part of chronic joint pain is driven by inflammation, and exercise is one of the most potent anti-inflammatory interventions available to us. Strengthening the muscles around a painful knee or hip reduces the mechanical load on the joint itself with every step you take. And sustained, appropriate movement actively calms the inflammatory processes that are generating the pain signals in the first place. This is not an alternative or complementary approach. It is the primary treatment recommendation in serious clinical guidelines around the world for osteoarthritis management. If you are also carrying weight that is above your comfortable range, losing even a modest amount of it multiplies that benefit significantly because the mechanical load on a knee joint is several times your body weight with each step, meaning small reductions in body weight create large reductions in joint stress. Exercise and weight management together build muscle, protect your cardiovascular system, improve metabolic health, lift mood, and reduce joint pain simultaneously. Collagen, at its most optimistic evidence assessment, touches the joint pain question modestly, unreliably, and mostly in studies funded by people selling it. The big one: does collagen actually slow aging across your whole body? This is where I can be brief, because the evidence requires brevity. There is no robust, independent evidence that collagen supplementation slows biological aging, extends lifespan, protects against age-related disease, or does anything that meaningfully addresses the processes by which your body ages at a cellular and systemic level. It has not been seriously studied for these outcomes. It has been studied for wrinkles and knee pain, not for the kind of long-term aging outcomes that actually determine how long you live and how well you live while you are doing it. Anyone selling collagen as a longevity or anti-aging product in the broad sense is making a claim that exists entirely outside the available evidence. There is no study, no trial, no long-term cohort data that supports the idea that taking collagen adds years to your life or meaningfully changes the trajectory of how your body ages over time. What does have that evidence? A study of over 120,000 people found that the most physically fit individuals had approximately 80% lower risk of dying from any cause compared to the least fit individuals in the same population. Building and maintaining muscle mass, eating predominantly whole unprocessed foods, sleeping 7 to 9 hours consistently, managing chronic stress. These interventions have enormous, independent, replicated evidence bases for longevity outcomes that collagen research has never come close to touching because collagen has never been seriously tested against those outcomes. No one who reaches 90 in genuinely good health attributes it to a supplement. They attribute it to movement, to food, to sleep, to relationships, to not smoking. Always the same unglamorous, freely available answers. Supplements are not mentioned. They are never mentioned. Is it safe, and should you just take it anyway? For most healthy adults, collagen is not going to cause you obvious harm in the short term, and I want to be fair about that. But there are things worth knowing that the marketing will reliably omit. Collagen is derived from animal sources, typically bovine hide, porcine skin, or fish scales and skin. Marine collagen in particular, sourced from fish, carries a meaningful contamination risk because fish bioaccumulate heavy metals from the water they live in, and some tested collagen products have been found to contain detectable levels of these contaminants. Supplements are not regulated with the same rigor as medications in most countries. No one is checking every batch before it reaches your coffee. As a protein source, collagen is also nutritionally incomplete, missing one of the essential amino acids your body cannot synthesize on its own. If your goal is simply more protein, almost any other source delivers better nutritional value per pound spent, and there is a longer-term consideration that deserves honest acknowledgement. Most supplement research is conducted over weeks or months, not years, not decades. Cancer and certain chronic diseases develop over timescales that supplement trials have never covered. I am not telling you collagen causes cancer. There is no evidence of that. I am telling you that we genuinely do not know what daily intake of any supplement, including collagen, does to your biology over 20 or 30 years of consistent use. That uncertainty is real and it belongs in the conversation. So, what is the honest verdict? If you are taking collagen hoping for younger skin or a slower aging process across your body, the evidence does not support continuing. That money, 30, 40, 50 pounds a month, would serve your skin dramatically better spent on a high-quality daily SPF, which addresses the actual primary cause of visible facial aging, rather than a secondary mechanism that independent research cannot confirm matters. If you have joint pain and you have genuinely committed to the interventions with real evidence behind them, the appropriate exercise, the strength training, the weight management, the anti-inflammatory diet, and you are still struggling, then trying collagen as an additional measure is a reasonable decision made with open eyes. The evidence is weak and mostly industry-funded, but the safety profile is acceptable and the possibility of modest benefit cannot be entirely ruled out. Just make sure it is the last thing you reach for, never the first, and never instead of the things that actually work. Because that is the real danger with supplements marketed this aggressively. Not that any one of them is dramatically harmful in isolation. It is that they create a false sense of doing something about your health that allows the genuinely important habits to keep getting postponed. Every pound spent on a supplement you do not need is a pound not spent on better food. Every morning you feel virtuous about your collagen shot is a morning you might feel slightly less urgency about the walk you have been meaning to take or the strength training session you keep rescheduling. The supplement industry is extraordinarily good at selling you the feeling of taking care of yourself. What it cannot sell you is the actual outcome of taking care of yourself. That comes from the boring, free, endlessly replicated stuff that nobody is putting on a checkout queue shelf. Let me know in the comments whether you are currently taking collagen, what you were hoping it would do, and whether anything in today's video changes how you are thinking about it. I read every comment and I genuinely want to hear what your experience has been, because the conversation in the comments on this channel is always as useful as anything I say in the video itself. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.